Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our health channel, where we're all about helping you live your best life, especially if you're over 60. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for so many of you, the food you eat every day, specifically nuts. You might be thinking, nuts? They're healthy, right? Well, not so fast. While nuts are often praised as heart-healthy superfoods, the truth is that not all nuts are safe for seniors, especially when eaten in the wrong amounts, at the wrong times, or with certain medications. I'm a heart doctor with over 30 years of experience working with older adults, and I've seen countless patients walk into my clinic confused and frustrated. They're doing everything right: no fried foods, daily walks, drinking plenty of water, and snacking on nuts instead of candy. But their health is still slipping. Their blood pressure is creeping up, their kidneys are struggling, or they're experiencing silent heart issues they didn't even know were happening. Why? Because the nuts they thought were protecting their hearts were quietly working against them. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 9 specific nuts that seniors should approach with caution, explain why they can be risky, and share what you can eat instead to truly support your heart and overall health. This information could be a game changer for you, so please stay with me. It might just save your life. If you're new here, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another health tip tailored just for you. And as we go through this, let me know in the comments if you're finding this helpful by typing 1, or, if not, type 0, so I can make better content for you. Let's get started. First, let's talk about raw almonds. For years, almonds have been marketed as the ultimate healthy snack. You see them in commercials endorsed by dietitians, packed into lunchboxes, trail mixes, and even senior care meal plans. They're rich in vitamin E, magnesium, and healthy fats, so it's easy to see why they've earned their reputation. But here's what most people don't know, especially seniors. Raw almonds have a hidden downside that can burden aging bodies, particularly if you're dealing with high blood pressure, heart conditions, or declining kidney function. The issue lies in oxalates, a natural compound found in raw almonds. In younger bodies, the kidneys can flush out oxalates without much trouble, but after 60, especially if you're on medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood thinners, your kidneys slow down. They're not as efficient as they once were, and oxalates can start to build up, putting stress on your kidneys and, in turn, your heart. Let me tell you about Paul Jensen, a 71-year-old retired postman from Indiana who came to my clinic last fall. Paul was frustrated, complaining of swollen ankles, shortness of breath, and fatigue that just wouldn't go away. He told me, "Doc, I haven't touched red meat in 5 years. I walk every morning, and I snack on almonds instead of cookies. I'm doing everything right." But when we ran his labs, we found elevated creatinine levels, a sign of early kidney dysfunction, and unstable blood pressure despite his medications. The culprit: Paul was eating 2 handfuls of raw almonds every day, thinking they were protecting his heart. Instead, the high oxalate content was overloading his kidneys, leading to fluid retention that strained his heart. It was a vicious cycle he didn't even feel until the damage had already started. The tragedy is that no one had ever told him almonds could be risky. They were marketed as heart-healthy, so he never questioned it. Oxalates can increase the risk of kidney stones, raise inflammation, and elevate blood pressure by disrupting fluid balance, forcing the heart to work harder. For Paul, we made a simple change. He switched to a small handful of blanched, soaked almonds just a few times a week, never raw, and always with plenty of water. Within 6 weeks, his kidney markers improved, his blood pressure stabilized, and he could breathe easier, both physically and emotionally. If you're over 60, raw almonds are not a free pass. They're potent, and if you're not careful with how much you eat or how you prepare them, they can quietly push your kidneys and heart into dangerous territory. Your body doesn't need more strain, it needs support, And that starts with understanding not just what you eat, but how much and in what form. Now, let's move on to salted cashews, those crunchy, creamy snacks that feel like a healthier alternative to chips or bacon. They're so easy to love, just a handful with your afternoon tea or while watching the evening news. But here's the hard truth: after 60, your body's ability to handle salt changes dramatically, and salted cashews can turn into a silent sodium bomb that raises your blood pressure and puts your heart at risk. Cashews themselves aren't the problem. They're rich in magnesium and good fats. But when they're roasted and salted, especially in commercial brands, they become one of the sneakiest sodium carriers in your kitchen. Just 1 ounce, about a handful, can pack 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium. And if you're like most people, you're probably eating more than that without realizing it. As we age, our kidneys lose efficiency, our arteries stiffen, and our ability to flush out excess sodium declines. This leads to fluid retention, increased blood volume, and higher blood pressure, forcing your heart to work overtime. I'll never forget Mr. Everett, a 77-year-old retired police officer from Indiana. He came to me complaining of fatigue and chest tightness, especially in the evenings. His blood pressure was alarmingly high, 16/8 to 98, despite being on medication. He told me, "Doc, I gave up salting my food years ago. I don't understand." But when we dug into his habits, we found the problem every afternoon. Everett was eating 2 handfuls of salted cashews, thinking they were a smart snack. Day after day, week after week, he was consuming thousands of extra milligrams of sodium, not from a salt shaker or processed meals, but from a snack he thought was heart healthy. That sodium was drawing water into his bloodstream, raising his blood pressure, and straining his heart, leading to left ventricular hypertrophy, a thickening of the heart muscle that can set the stage for atrial fibrillation or even heart failure. We swapped his salted cashews for raw, unsalted pistachios in a controlled portion, and within a month, his blood pressure dropped, his energy returned, and he felt clear-headed again. He looked at me in disbelief and said, "All this time, I thought I was doing everything right. Who would have thought cashews could push me toward a heart attack?" If you're over 60, salt hides where you least expect it, and your heart can't afford surprises anymore. Before you reach for those salted cashews, ask yourself, is this flavor worth the strain on my heart? Next up, let's talk about walnuts, often hailed as a brain-boosting superfood. You've probably heard that walnuts are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, great for brain health and lowering inflammation. And that's true, in small amounts. But after 60, eating too many walnuts can disrupt your heart's natural rhythm. And that's something most seniors don't learn until it's too late. Your heart isn't just a pump, it's an intricate electrical system that relies on a delicate balance of electrolytes, nervous system signals, and hormones. As we age, that balance becomes more fragile, and certain foods, even healthy ones, can throw it off. Walnuts are dense in polyunsaturated fats, which are beneficial in moderation but can overstimulate the autonomic nervous system in large amounts, especially when combined with heart medications. This can trigger arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats that feel like fluttering, pounding, or skipping beats. For a younger person, this might go unnoticed, but for a senior with aging arteries or a pre-existing heart condition, it's a step toward a stroke or heart failure. I remember Mr. Calvin D., a 74-year-old retired mail carrier from Colorado Springs. He came to me saying, "My heart feels jumpy, like it's trying to race and stop at the same time." He had no history of serious heart disease, walked daily, avoided alcohol, and never smoked. But for months, he'd been adding walnuts to his oatmeal, salads, and smoothies, convinced he was protecting his brain from dementia. We ran an EKG and a 48-hour Holter monitor, which showed frequent premature ventricular contractions, PVCs, and occasional atrial fibrillation spikes. Clear signs his heart was struggling to maintain its rhythm. When I asked about his diet, he said, "I eat about 20 walnuts a day, Doc." That's not bad, is it? For Calvin's aging body, It was too much. The high omega-3 intake was overstimulating his nervous system, putting his heart into overdrive. We scaled him back to just 3 walnut halves a day, only with lunch. Within 2 weeks, his palpitations eased, and after 6 weeks, his EKG normalized. He told me, "I didn't need a bucket of walnuts to stay sharp. My heart just wanted some peace and quiet." If your heart feels strange after meals or you notice fluttering at night, don't ignore it. Your body is whispering, and it's time to listen. Now, let's talk about flax seeds, the tiny superfood sprinkled on yogurt, blended into smoothies, and stirred into oatmeal across health-conscious households. They're praised for lowering cholesterol, improving digestion, and boosting heart health, but after 60, flax seeds can be a hidden danger, especially if you're on blood thinners like aspirin, warfarin, or clopidogrel. Flax seeds contain alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that acts as a natural blood thinner. In younger adults, this isn't usually a problem, but for seniors, especially those on anticoagulants, flax seeds can amplify the blood thinning effect, making your blood too thin and increasing the risk of internal bleeding from even a small bump or bruise. I had a patient, Ms. Darlene M., a 76-year-old retired art teacher from upstate New York. She came in pale, dizzy, and disoriented, complaining of lightheadedness. She was doing everything right, walking 30 minutes daily, staying hydrated, cutting out red meat, and eating oatmeal with a tablespoon of flax seeds every morning. Her daughter had told her it was the heart food of the future. But her labs showed a dangerously elevated INR, a measure of blood clotting time, and low hemoglobin, indicating she was bleeding internally, slowly, silently. We traced it back to the combination of her daily baby aspirin and that tablespoon of flax seeds. She hadn't changed her medications or drank alcohol, but that small amount of flax seeds was enough to tip her body into a fragile state. We removed flax seeds from her routine, stabilized her blood levels, and adjusted her medications. Darlene made a full recovery, but she told me, "I thought natural meant safe, but I was mixing medicine and food without even knowing it." If you're on blood thinners, every food you eat becomes part of your treatment plan. Flax seeds aren't bad, but they're potent, and potency without awareness is dangerous. Ask your doctor if your diet is interacting with your medications, because at your age, food is chemistry. Next, let's discuss nut butters. Those creamy spreads like peanut, almond, or cashew butter that feel like a smart swap for sugary treats. You might spread them on toast, blend them into smoothies, or eat them straight from the jar. But most commercial nut butters are far from heart healthy. They're loaded with added sugars, hydrogenated oils like palm or soybean, and salt, which wreak havoc on your cardiovascular system. After 60, your metabolism slows, your arteries lose flexibility, and your heart works harder to maintain its rhythm. Sugar spikes insulin, promotes fat storage, and fuels inflammation in your blood vessels, leading to plaque buildup. Hydrogenated oils, high in omega-6 fatty acids, increase systemic inflammation and worsen arterial stiffness. And salt, as we've discussed, drives up blood pressure. Just 2 tablespoons of flavored nut butter can deliver over 190 calories, 3 to 4 grams of sugar, and 150 milligrams of sodium before you even add jelly or bread. I had a patient, Mr. Harold T., a 79-year-old retired piano tuner from Illinois. He came in with chest tightness and fatigue, despite managing his blood pressure well for years. His LDL cholesterol had climbed, and his inflammatory markers were elevated. He was confused, saying, "Doc, I haven't had a burger in months. I cut out dessert." But he'd replaced desserts with daily scoops of peanut butter, often with honey, thinking it was better than ice cream. His favorite brand had added sugar, palm oil, and nearly 200 milligrams of sodium per serving. We switched him to a natural peanut butter with only one ingredient, peanuts, and limited him to 1 tablespoon daily, paired with apple slices or whole grain crackers. In 8 weeks, his cholesterol improved, his energy returned, and the chest tightness faded. He said, "I didn't realize my comfort food was hurting the thing I was trying to protect, my heart." Before you grab that spoonful of nut butter, ask yourself, is this nourishing my heart or just numbing a craving? Now, let's talk about trail mix, the snack that feels like nature's perfect fuel. You see it in health food stores, hospital gift shops, and even heart health magazines. A mix of nuts, seeds, dried fruit, and maybe some dark chocolate. But most commercial trail mixes are loaded with sugar-coated fruit, nuts roasted in inflammatory oils, and heavily salted components. That chocolate, it's often processed waxy and far from antioxidant-rich. After 60, your insulin sensitivity declines, your metabolism slows, and your arteries lose flexibility. A handful of trail mix can spike your blood sugar, flood your bloodstream with sodium, and cause micro damage to your blood vessels, setting the stage for plaque buildup, high blood pressure, and erratic heart rhythms. Mrs. Carol B., an 81-year-old former nurse from North Carolina, came to me with lightheadedness and swollen feet. She avoided fried foods and ate plenty of vegetables, but she confessed to snacking on trail mix several times a day for comfort. Each handful had over 250 calories, 15 grams of sugar, and 200 milligrams of sodium. Her blood pressure was 62/96 and her A1C was in the pre-diabetic range. She was eating a dessert disguised as health food. We switched her to a homemade mix of raw, unsalted almonds, unsweetened cranberries, and pumpkin seeds in a quarter-cup portion, eaten once daily. Her blood pressure dropped, the swelling subsided, and she told me, "I didn't need the sugar, I just needed the habit." Next time you reach for trail mix, read the label and ask, is this nourishing me or numbing me with sweetness and salt? Let's move on to pistachios, those small, colorful nuts that are so satisfying to crack open. They're high in insoluble fiber and phytosterols, which can help reduce cholesterol in moderation. But in large amounts, especially for seniors on blood pressure medications, blood thinners, or beta blockers, pistachios can slow digestion, delay gastric motility, and interfere with medication absorption. As we age, our digestive system slows, and the timing of medication absorption becomes critical. A large serving of pistachios can sit in your gut, diverting blood from the heart and affecting blood pressure. Mr. Joseph L., an 82-year-old retired jazz musician from New Orleans, came to me with erratic blood pressure despite years of stability on a low-dose AC inhibitor. He was dizzy and confused, saying, "I'm taking my meds, doc. Nothing's changed." But he'd recently started eating 2 to 3 handfuls of pistachios every night to curb dessert cravings. That high-fiber, high-fat load was slowing his digestive system, delaying his medication's absorption. We scaled back to a small handful with lunch, taken with water and away from heavy meals. Within 3 weeks, his blood pressure stabilized. He said, "I thought I was replacing a bad habit with a good one, but I had no idea the good one had its own risks." Your digestive clock, medication schedule, and heart rhythm are deeply connected after 60. Before you reach for pistachios, ask, is this helping my heart or holding back my medicine? Next, let's discuss Brazil nuts, often praised for their selenium and healthy fats. Just one nut delivers nearly 100% of your daily selenium needs, and a small handful has as much potassium as a banana. But for seniors, especially those on AC inhibitors, ARBs, or potassium-sparing diuretics, this can be catastrophic. Aging kidneys struggle to filter excess potassium, leading to hyperkalemia, which can trigger fatal arrhythmias without warning. Mrs. Eileen S., an 84-year-old retired nurse from Ohio, came in for a routine checkup, feeling slightly tired but otherwise fine. Her labs showed elevated potassium and a slight widening of the QRS complex on her EKG, a sign her heart was under strain. She didn't eat bananas or take supplements, but she had 3 to 4 Brazil nuts daily with her tea, thinking they boosted her immune system. Combined with her low-dose lisinopril, her kidneys couldn't keep up. We removed Brazil nuts, adjusted her meds, and within 2 weeks, her potassium normalized. She said, "It scares me to think something so small could have taken me down." Brazil nuts are potent, and potency without supervision is dangerous. Ask yourself, am I feeding my heart or forcing it to work harder? Finally, let's talk about mixed nuts, the comforting snack you might keep by your recliner or offer to guests. They feel balanced. A mix of almonds, cashews, peanuts, and pecans. But most commercial mixes are overly roasted, heavily salted, and coated in low-quality oils. Peanuts, often the bulk of these mixes, are legumes with more inflammatory omega-6 oils than healthy fats. This cancels out the benefits and throws off the balance your heart needs. Mr. Ron T., a 78-year-old Vietnam veteran from Arizona, came to me frustrated. His weight was creeping up, his blood pressure was elevated, and his cholesterol had jumped despite cutting out red meat and walking daily. He was snacking on mixed nuts every night, thinking they were better than junk food. Each serving had 180 calories, 8 grams of oxidized fat, and 200 milligrams of sodium, and he was eating 3 times the suggested amount. We switched him to a quarter cup of raw, unsalted walnuts and almonds daily, with meals. In 6 weeks, his blood pressure dropped 15 points and he lost 4 pounds. He said, "I thought I was eating smart, but I was eating like I was 40, not 78. Your body needs precision, not more food. So, what nuts should you eat after 60, and how much is safe? Your body has changed. Your digestive system is slower. Your kidneys are more sensitive, and your heart is less forgiving. But the right nuts, in the right form and amount, can support heart health, stabilize blood sugar, and fuel your energy. Here's what I recommend, based on years of treating seniors like Mrs. Joyce K., an 81-year-old retired principal from Michigan who recovered from a mini-stroke by rethinking her nut consumption. First, almonds unsalted, soaked overnight, peeled, and limited to 5 to 7 per day. They're gentle on the stomach and provide vitamin E and magnesium. Second, walnuts raw, unsalted, no more than 2 halves daily, treated like a supplement for their omega-3s. Third, pistachios raw or dry roasted, unsalted, about 10-12 with a meal, not at night. Fourth, pumpkin seeds raw, unsalted, 1 tablespoon daily, but watch phosphorus if you have kidney issues. Avoid Brazil nuts unless supervised by a doctor due to selenium toxicity risks. Skip trail mix, sweetened nuts, and nut butters unless they contain only the nut itself. Eat nuts once daily, never as a graze food, and always with water and a balanced meal. Joyce's cholesterol and blood pressure improved, and she said, "I don't feel afraid of food anymore. I feel in control." That's what I want for you: clarity, not confusion. This isn't just about nuts. It's about how you choose to live. I've seen seniors on multiple medications, tired and defeated, turn their lives around with small, precise changes. Mr. Thomas W., an 87-year-old retired pastor from Georgia, was on 4 heart medications and just wanted to feel steady again. We swapped his nightly peanut butter toast for a lighter dinner and his mixed nuts for 5 soaked almonds in the morning. 3 months later, he was sleeping better, breathing easier, and smiling. Your next meal is a decision to honor your body. Every bite matters, so choose with care, intention, and love. If you found this helpful, comment 1 below, or, if you have feedback, like, share, and subscribe for more tips to live fully and authentically. Here's to your heart, your health, and the years ahead, because it's never too late.